Hello and welcome to the magical world of Tantra massage. My name is Devi and I'm here today to ask questions about eroticism. What is this pure erotic experience that a Tantra massage can be? And what is the difference between sex and eros, and maybe many other things that I'm curious about to know more. And I'm here today with Bagala and Shivani from the Tantra Temple. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So first off, I would like to ask you to say a little bit about yourself.
I'm Bagala and I have been here in the temple for around 12 years. I'm giving massages and I'm also teaching both in the temple but also in other places like massage education. I like very much this subject about Eros. And I believe that this energy, it is one of the most powerful energies which can help the one who wants to advance on the spiritual path to advance very fast. And we will talk more about it. We will develop the subject.
And I'm Shivani. I have been practicing Tantra for more than 2 decades, and I am one of the founders of the Tantra Temple. So we founded the Tantra Temple back in 2006, and I have been giving massages since then. But not only like Bagala, I'm also teaching Tantra full-time, both classes, workshops, retreats in Denmark and abroad. I lived 6 years in Asia where I was teaching yoga and Tantra. And now back in Denmark, very happy to be very engaged in the temple as well. And this topic is also something extremely dear to me ever since I almost remember, at least since my late teens, I have been super interested in this topic. I remember when I was in gymnasium, I wanted to write a thesis about the Eloisis mysteries, which is known to be this kind of a cult of sacred eroticism. And unfortunately at that time, it was so hard to find any material about it. So I didn't succeed to write about it. But then when I came across Tantra, it was like something fulfilling for my soul, because I had kind of been searching for it more or less consciously since I was a teenager.
Great. Nice to have you here, ladies. So my first question is probably obvious, but what is Eros?
So there are, let's say, when I started to study Tantra and learn about Tantra, I was equaling sexuality with eroticism.
Yeah.
And it was only when I started to go deeper into the tantric studies that I came across this whole idea that in fact sexuality and eroticism are 2 different things. So in the universe, there are 2 creative forces, we can say. One creative force is a force, we call it the sexual energy, which has as a purpose to procreate all species, humans, animals as well, for procreation. It is very much connected with the instincts, and we call it in Tantra that it is a downgoing force that is condensing some godly energies into the world, into creation, into manifestation. And then we have the erotic energies, which is another creative force, which is what we call an uplifting force, which is the energy that we use when, for instance, we create poetry, so inspired poetry, but also it can be great scientific works, of course, in lovemaking. When we make love, that is not just for having babies, then it can also be the erotic energy that we engage in. It is an energy, this erotic energy, that is very liberating. So usually when we manifest the erotic energies, we feel very free and open and expansive. Very briefly.
It's a brief comment. Do you have something to add?
I was just thinking that nowadays people, when they hear about eroticism or eros, they immediately associate this with something sexual or with sexuality as such. And actually at the source, eros or eroticism, it is very much in connection with passionate love, with romantic love, with something which is uplifting. It's giving you wings to fly, as Shivani just said here, explain how this force is uplifting. So it's just that nowadays, because we don't have this education, somehow we just mixing it up there, and probably people can experience glimpses of eros and in the same time have some sexualized behavior. So it's like a mix, but when we learn to differentiate these things, then it can make a very big difference, and to choose consciously where to take up or down. So it's very...
So there is a very important difference, because the sexual energy is, as I said, related to the instincts, and it has kind of a blinding force. So usually, when you start to feel horny, and usually you're kind of just, you're wearing these blinders, you're just going towards that to get that, and it's kind of, you're taken very much by that energy, and even sometimes you lose all your rationality and common sense in to have your sexual fulfillments, and afterwards saying, oh my god, what I was doing, I took so weird decisions just because I was taken by this immense sexual desire here. And I'm not usually such a person with common sense. I think clearly, but now in this moment I was just taken. So it has a blinding energy to it, because it is meant to be, and God, thanks God, that it helps us to keep the species going, to make sure that the survival of the species. And therefore, sometimes we have to even, in order to survive as a human species, sometimes we even need to, cut our rational thoughts and, okay, I don't like this girl, how she behaves, but anyhow, for the sake of making babies, sometimes it's good that we have the instincts, because otherwise sometimes we become so clever, like in Japan, where they lost their drive and their desire to be in couple relationships and make love and so on. So it has a purpose like this. But then on the other hand, we have the erotic energy, which is not a blinding force, but which is an awakening force. So many times, for instance, when we fall in love, because now the erotic energy is an energy that binds or goes very well together with love. It combines very well with the energy of love. So therefore, many times in the first stages of falling in love, we are naturally feeling the eros. And this is where just being together, just eye gazing, touching each other's hands is you get so many thrills and inspirations and understandings about the other one, about life and so on. Because eros has this awakening force or energy or tendency. It makes us wake up. And the other one, the sexual energy, makes us fall asleep and just go for that thing.
Yeah. So why do we need to have eros in Tantra massage?